Masked Hero.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to a bit of an impromptu video because I guess there was a part of me that said, oh no, they'll give us a heads up if there's going to be another preview article, and that was not the case. But we are going to be looking at the Echo previews that came out today. Well, not today. You'll be seeing this on Saturday, but what came out this week on Thursday. And I've already looked over this because I wasn't sure when I was going to be able to make this video, but I wanted to make it. And so here you will have it. I read everything over. I'm really excited by this. But let's just talk about the 12 cards that are coming out. We'll keep this pretty brief, I think. We don't need to do a lot of hypothesizing. We can just totally swing for the fences here. So like I said, we're looking at 12 cards today coming out of the Echo kit. And for a brief rundown of Echo, let's quick cut to one of my shorts. First seen in 1999's Daredevil number 9, Maya Lopez is a member of the Cheyenne people with what I would only describe as a very wild life. Her parents were mysteriously nixed by an unknown assailant, Kingpin. It was Kingpin. I think if you go along long enough, eventually everything is going to be tied back to Wilson Fisk. Unfortunately, Maya would not realize this for years, causing her to be leveraged by Kingpin as an assassin, since he has the ability to mimic the physical movements of others, just like Taskmaster. After the truth comes out, she temporarily blinds Kingpin and then joins the new Avengers under the alias of Ronin. She fights the Hand, is killed by Elektra, and later reanimated, and eventually becomes the partial host of the Phoenix Force, a power that she would eventually burn off when she fights Multiverse Mephisto. My hope is that when she comes to Marvel Champions, she'll feel like a hero version of Taskmaster, but I want her to have a Ronin card that can be used by her or Hawkeye. Alright, so do you feel like you have an understanding of this character? Good, because that's my understanding going into this, minus maybe another couple pieces of lore, but keeping it brief. Here we are, looking at the Maya Lopez alter ego, which has 3 recovery, has 6 hand size, 9 hit points, is a civilian traded card, so it's entirely possible that we will be seeing, I forget what the name of it is, I'll put it up on screen, but there's a resource specifically for civilians, and I feel like we're starting to get an awful lot of potential use for that, because I honestly think a lot of the defenders could be civilians. But we've got the Practice Makes Perfect ability, which is an interrupt. When you change to hero form, search your deck for an aspect or basic event. Add that card to your hand. Obviously, we cannot go grab any of her hero cards, but just the ability to change to hero form with a specific card in your hand, or maybe not a specific card, an event card in your hand, but events are going to be very important to Maya, so it's going to be a good thing. I think this is going to be on par with Hulkling in terms of what we're able to do with events, but that's a pretty powerful ability, because that probably means you're looking at a 7-card hand with my knowledge from Deadpool would say a 7-card hand with the card that you specifically want in hand is going to be a good time. Obviously, looking over the fact that this cannot be an identity-specific card, I don't think that's going to be too much of a hindrance. I think it's just going to make for actually probably a lot of greedy plays. You'll be able to just say, hey, let me have a single copy of this card because I have a really good sense that, or maybe 2 copies to be safe, but you're going to be able to play more copies with just maybe 1 or 2 ofs because you're going to have them in your deck. Obviously, this starts the discard pile, but what all I'm trying to say is that she's going to be very flexible, and hopefully that means you're going to be able to put some Miser's copies in. Moving on to the hero side, we have Echo, who is a 2/2/2 hero with the Defender and Martial Artist trait, which I believe the villain Kingpin gets at some point. 5 hand size, 9 hit points. Echo has the Watch and Learn ability, which is a response after a player plays an aspect or basic event. Tuck that event here from that player's discard pile. So if there's some reason why they don't make it to the discard pile, it's not going to come to get tucked under you. Probably just interacting with other cards that do tucking. But then, if there are more than 3 cards tucked here, discard all but 3 of those cards. So I don't believe, and obviously we'll look at the rules, check everything, I don't think we've seen anything that just flushes all of them out. I would imagine her obligation might be doing that. But for the most part, unlike Silk, who can hold cards under her, I don't think we've seen anything that explicitly takes them out. It's possible that maybe one of her events does. I don't remember. We'll get into it. We have all that time in the world to look at that. But I think this is also really cool. Just the idea that when any player plays it, you basically get to say, hey, I've watched you do that event. I'm going to do it too. And I think that this is going to make her a stupendous multiplayer hero. I think it's actually sort of a gift that she's not going to be available in time for Con of Heroes 2026, because I think we would all be way too inexperienced with her to properly utilize her. But this is a cool ability. I don't think it's going to take a lot of upkeep. It's going to be a little bit of just kind of keeping track of what's going on and utilizing her as well as possible. But let's move on to one of her events. That is Photographic Reflexes. It has a star effect, a star cost, and I'm guessing there's probably going to be 2 of these. I guess maybe even 3. This screams a card that probably has quite a few of them in her kit. But it is an event with, if you are in hero form, you can discard Photographic Reflexes from your hand to play an event tucked under Echo as if it were in your hand. Reduce the cost to play that event by 2. You cannot trigger Echo's Watch and Learn ability for that event. It's not the same as Silk where you're flushing out a card under you to like draw 2 cards, but if I'm understanding this correctly, and I read the article, I don't believe this spells it out. This card basically says, hey, take that card from under you and now put it into the discard pile of the person who owns it. And then obviously you cannot use the ability to, put it back under, which I think is that seems even more context clues to say that, like, you're going to play this event, it's going to cost 2 less, and you're not going to just be able to put it back under you when you discard it, because I'm 90% sure that when you play it, that also means you're putting it into a discard pile. These are all previews, so if I'm completely wrong with that, somebody in the comments will point it out. I'll probably even point it out in like my pack opening or something, but I like this just as a concept. And I guess here's a big context thing. So we go from number 2 to number 15, 2 of 15 to 8 of 15. So I don't know if we see, we don't see anything else to fill in. I cannot imagine that there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't believe there would be 6 copies of Photographic Reflexes in your deck, but I think there's a good chance that there's probably, like I said, 3 or 4. So then we've got to Study the Tape, which is going to help with your Photographic Reflexes just as a thematic thing. 0 cost event. It is a tactic, traded card, and action. Search any player's discard pile for one aspect event, basic event, or copy of Photographic Reflexes and add that card to your hand. So again, we are in a cooperative game. The idea of adding a card from somebody else's discard pile to your hand is not as intrusive. We've seen this before with Rogue. And actually, look at the artist here real quick. All right, so I love this artist, Allie. She gets another feature. That's awesome. And yeah, I think just overall, this is going to be very strong for doing what she's trying to do. And I'm hoping that this is another card where we see 2 or 3 copies of this, because I think this is going to be very strong for just like helping her to be the best she can be. I love being as event focused and how much it ties into her Photographic Reflexes. And yeah, I'm very impressed. I'm pretty big on Smooth as Silk from Silk's pack. I understand other people aren't as much. I think this is going to be a lot more reliable and do a lot more of what you're looking for in terms of what she's trying to do. And overall, this just looks like a fantastic card. Then we've got American Sign Language, a 2-cost upgrade. It is a skill. Exhaust this card, generate a wild resource for an event played by any player. This is cool. I love this. I love the capacity of this. I love just having a card called American Sign Language just in the game. Just the ability to help out other people. We've seen this before with other cards that, like the X-Jet or Helicarrier that can kind of do a similar thing. I think having this right in the hero kit is going to really push just how good Echo should be as a multiplayer hero. Got Daredevil, her 3-cost ally, identity specific, and it is a 2/2 with 3 hit points. Defender, or martial artist again. Response after Daredevil uses a basic power, reduce the cost of the next event you play this round by 1. I'm not saying he's going to be a good candidate for cameo. I'm not going to say that he's going to be like a top-rated identity-specific ally, but this reads as being pretty good. Sequencing is important in this game, but I don't think it's nearly as important as it is in other games. I think just being able to say, hey, I'm going to use my basic power, and then I'm going to play this event, that should not be too intrusive. And yeah, just overall, I think this is going to be a great help for what she's just trying to do. And then we have Observation, a 3-cost upgrade, skill traded. With your response after you play an event, if it has the following traits: attack, heal 1 damage from Echo, defense, remove 1 threat from a scheme, thwart, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So this is pretty great. And they point out an example with the team up card that we'll talk about. I think that's maybe card 12 of 12. That allows you to kind of do modular amount of damage or remove thwart, which means you could be, because it's double traded, it has the ability to basically do all of them, or not all of them, but to do 2 of them. And we do see defense attack traded cards. We see attack thwart traded cards, especially cards that like came with Gamora in like her aspect pool. And yeah, just overall, like this is something that I feel like is kind of probably be on par with probability field that Domino has, where it's a card that's basically there to just turn everything up, 11 out of 10. And I'm really hoping that this is going to be just a standout card from Echo, because it certainly reads like it is. Next up, we're moving into the aspect cards because she is going to be a defense hero. She's got a card. She's got the event Army of One, which is a 1 and a star traded card. The star increasing the cost of this card by 1 for each ally you control, and the action is ready a hero. So we will see this in a couple other instances. I think at least 1, I think maybe 2 has this kind of same thing, but Echo is basically introducing a kind of like lone wolf strategy where you're looking to not have allies in play. I've already seen someone in Discord point out they'd like to do this with Falcon because he has Red Wing, but Red Wing can just leave play whenever it needs to. And I would say something like this that's inexpensive, but that can act like a limitless stamina in defense is probably going to be awesome to have. And I mean, and it is an aspect card. So I'm interested to see where this card will go. Then we've got Get Their Attention, a 2-cost event, defense thwart. Those 2, actually, let's see. No, okay. So a defense thwart. So something like improvisation is really going to be able to take advantage of what this is doing, because this will not only thwart but also defense. So you get both of those triggers. As a hero interrupt, we have when an enemy initiates an attack, remove 3 threat from a scheme. That seems pretty good. So you can even just use, this is going to be a little expensive, but you could use cards that basically get an attack provoked at you, and then you're able to use this. And I guess the convenient thing is if you're using your photographic reflexes card, this could be 0. So the cost of kind of comboing together cards like a Come At Me Bub. No, that's not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Taunt. Taunt is what I'm thinking of. So just these effects that get an attack initiated against you during the hero phase, you're going to be able to cut some of those costs with just Echo's general kit, or at least that's how it will seem. And I think that's going to be great. And this is a cool effect that I think just protection in general is going to get a use out of it. I think Echo should definitely get a good chunk of use out of it. We've got In Harm's Way, a 3-cost event with the star, attack thwart, love to see that. Increase the cost of this card by 1 for each ally you control. Hero action, attack thwart. Deal X damage to an enemy, remove X threat from a scheme where X is your defense. Now, I looked at this at first and went, I don't know how I feel about this. I would love to see this cost 2 and a star. I think a base of 3 is a little high, and I don't know where I stand right now, because this reminds me an awful lot of something like Gunboat Diplomacy. Obviously, mechanically it is different. You're looking at different indicators, and the cost on that is that you need to have these 2 specific traits and 2 specific characters, whereas this is just, you want to do this, you want to kind of be a lone wolf, and you want to have a high defense. That's not naturally going to be powerful for Echo, because she only has a 2 defense, so this is kind of like pay 3, do 2 damage, remove 2 scheme, or 2 threat from a scheme at a base, and that's not stellar. The 3 defense heroes like your Ghost Spider or your Domino are going to be able to take more advantage of this. But I do think that if you are in the market for upping your defense and you can get this off, this is probably going to be really fun when you're pushing the limits of what protection's able to do. And I think that's going to be just a standout card. I don't, on the surface, don't know how I feel about this for Echo in particular. And then we have Ronin, which is a card that I was expecting. I was actually expecting it to be more limited, but from a flavor perspective, I understand why it can fit onto anybody. That all aside, the flavor all aside, it is a 1-cost upgrade, title traded. While you do not control any allies, your hero gets +1 defense and gains Retaliate. So this is obviously going to make something like In Harm's Way a little bit better, because I do think that 3 for 3 and 3 is probably absolutely fine. I like the prospect of this. Furthermore, pushing Maya to be a hero that is not looking to have allies in play. That is a little bit in the face of the fact that she does have an identity-specific ally in Daredevil, but Daredevil also feels like somebody who you're going to want to use them up pretty quickly. So I think that there is a very good chance that Echo will be running around with no allies in play as just kind of a baseline, probably more often than I think. But still, I love the fact that this can go on to any hero. Any hero can do this. Some heroes are not going to benefit as much from not having allies, but I think overall, I think an event-focused hero like this is going to have a fun time. I bet Gamora Ronin is going to be fun. And, Ghost Spider will probably also love to take this, along with probably any number of heroes that I'm just not thinking of. And then last card is the team-up card, See No Evil, Hear No Evil. It is a attack, thwart traded, is a team-up for Daredevil and Echo, max 1 per deck. And hero action, attack, thwart, choose 2 of the following. You may choose the same option twice. And believe me, as a Magic player, I love that line of text. So you can either choose to deal 3 damage to an enemy or remove 3 threat from a scheme, and you could do a total of 3 and 3, or 3 and 3 damage, 3 and 3 threat, 1 of each, all great. Team ups I have kind of a love-hate relationship with. I want to see them be as powerful as possible. I guess we'll see if Daredevil happens to have Echo as his identity-specific ally. That would change things a little bit, because if Daredevil... there isn't an Echo ally, I don't think, like just out in the pool already. So either way, I have a love-hate relationship with team-up cards in general. I want them to be great. This probably will be great when you can do it. The 2 does not feel horrible. Again, team up already has such a jumping through hurdles thing. If you're playing a 2-player, you can already team up, then all power to you. But I'm hoping this is going to be fun, because this looks like a card, you may choose the same option twice. Is always a great line of text. And so I'm really hoping that we will get to see that in its full regalia. And as I said, should be expecting the Fear No Evil in July. So I'm excited. And how excited are you for this? I'm hoping that this is going to be just a great hero to play with. But that is it for today. Thank you for your time. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.